she's gonna forget her locker passcode. And I said, and she goes, it took my sister forever to remember hers.
I think that's the scariest thing.
Yes.
Yes. They
Yes,
move to the big building.
I think so too.
I told her they weren't getting along, so I threatened them that I was gonna put their lockers right next to each other. And they're like, you can't do that. I'm like, I'm on the school board. I can't, I bet I can. They're like, really? You guys might share a locker. Like, you guys better start getting along then. Hug each other. I didn't know.
Jesse,
What's that?
with Jesse and I, all through high school. I mean, we would have gone along together. Yeah, I'm like, good stuff. Yeah.
When did you actually start getting along?
I shouldn't forget. They're still waiting for that.
When she moved away and
15 months apart, so I think that's part of it, but no, but you know, you get to school and she'd have on your jeans or you'd have on.
oh boy, I can't wait.
Yep, no, she's not coming. Okay.
They got Lucas bike. So he's got a dirt bike he's been riding and has some training wheels on. So I got him a little electric bike. It's like a Strider bike. You guys see the Strider ones, but if you get it going so fast, it has a throttle and it'll take off. So he started riding it and he's doing fantastic. Rides it like all over the place. So he just turned 3, so he can ride it all over. And I was on my other bike riding next to him, and we were kind of going down a little hill. And he's been practicing on the brake, but he's so small that his fingers are small. He can't quite grab it. You know, he has to like almost take his thumb and hang onto the bar and grab it with his longest finger and to pull on the brake. So we were going down a bigger hill, and the streets in Pawnee, not all of them are very nice, and it started getting bouncy and rough, and he started doing this number, and because he's trying to grab the brake and he's having a hard enough time trying to hang onto the handlebars like that. And we were going pretty fast too, and I couldn't get him picked up off of there. He went over the handlebars. Yeah, he's got a big old goose. He had a helmet on, but it hit and like he puts the helmet up and he still smacked his forehead. So we're supposed to have pictures this week. So those are probably good. He's got a monster goose egg on his forehead.
Embrace it.
I'm like, oh no, I was afraid he's never going to want to ride again. I picked him up, I hauled him home real quick, and just to make sure it was okay. And I was cleaning him up because it drew blood. And I got him all cleaned up, and he's like, "Can we go ride again?" And I'm like, that helmet's gonna hurt now putting that back over your forehead. I'm like, we better wait till that goose egg goes away so it fits again.
All right, guys, it is 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. I need a motion to declare an open meeting.
Make a motion to declare an open meeting. I'll second it.
Motion by Bobby, second by Hope for an open meeting. We'll start with Julia, who's absent tonight. Mark?
Yes.
Jason, yes. Hannah?
Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
Hope?
Yes.
We are in open session. All right. We welcome our visitors to the meeting tonight. As per the law, the Board of Education does adhere to the Open Meetings Act. Copy of that act is posted to my right. The meeting has been properly advertised according to the policy and the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. We'll go ahead and review the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Hope and a second by Bobby to approve the consent agenda. Hope, do you have any questions or comments? Bobby?
No.
Any other board members have any comments or questions?
Nope.
We'll go on to the vote then. Mark?
Yes.
Jason, yes. Hannah?
Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
Hope?
Yes.
And Julia is absent. Motion carried. Public comment at this time. Open the floor to public comment. You ready? Seeing nobody or hearing nobody wanting to speak, then we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the employment portion.
Okay, nothing to share, which is great news.
Good news, good news. All right, so informational reports. We'll start with the counselor's report. Miss Teresa Bledsoe.
Okay. Okay, so August, things are back in like full swing now. I'll start with college visits. We already have 2 on the calendar actually for September. We'll go to SEC Beatrice for Ag Day and then SEC Milford for Careers and Construction Day. As far as we'll be taking the kids to that, and it's nice to be able to work with your income and dividing those visits. Apply to College Day comes up every year. Save the date Thursday, October 30th. So working on confirming our college, career, and military reps. The FAFSA presentation with senior parents. Right now, I have it scheduled from approximately 1 to 2. So if you are the parent of a senior, we would love to have you so you can kind of learn about the new universal FAFSA, and we will start the process that day getting your FSA IDs. Again, universal FAFSA, that's a graduation requirement. It should be open December 2025, but you never know with the FAFSA and the FAFSA. So we're hoping. SEC dual credit classes start already August 18th. I meet with the kids beforehand to give them their books, materials, answer any questions. Dual credit welding still going to be a thing. Huge thanks to Stephanie Bartles, who got her credential this summer. That really helps us out a lot. CNA, we're kind of working through getting our final numbers for that. So hopefully we'll have enough to have that class go. Something I wanted to share was our new junior class offering, which is our Pathways to Success class. So I've kind of included that packet there just to kind of share what we're going to be doing in this class. I'm excited for it. It's definitely going to be a work in progress and we'll have to kind of learn as we go. But essentially we're trying to tell the kids, like, you're not going to get it right the first time, and that's okay. It's okay to fall down, fail, make mistakes, and then also learn from those failures. So we're going to talk a lot about like, what is your life view? What is your work view? What is your leadership view? What do you like in leaders? What do you not like in leaders? And then they can take this information and kind of carve their own path for themselves. A big thing we talk about is dysfunctional beliefs. So many times kids are like, oh, I'll never be able to do that, or I can't do that. But you can. We just have to figure out why you have that dysfunctional belief. We talk about work-life balance. I use that hook analogy there. It's something's got to give. You have to be able to balance your school, your relationships, your health, your fun. You got to have that balance there. We're going to talk about how kids want to be compensated. Do you want to be compensated with money? Do you want to be compensated by being able to express yourself? Do you want to be compensated by impact? So they kind of rank themselves and see where they fall with a couple of different careers. We talk a lot about self-view and others' view. I actually did this with Mrs. A. I might view myself as organized, independent. She might view me as a great teammate. So we talk about why she sees that in me, why I see those things in myself. We talk about problem statements. What's your passion? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? We'll talk a lot about failures and what we can learn from those failures and how we can go. We're going to focus a lot on values and our value pyramids. What's the foundation of what we want to do, and what things are important to you? When kids identify these things, now we have kind of a springboard of what our next steps should be. A really interesting thing with this class is we do a 3 lives experiment. So the kids come up with 3 lives for themselves. One is, what thing have you always wanted to do? Like status quo. The second thing is, I don't know if anyone watches the show like Schitt's Creek. So like, what would you do if like one thing was suddenly gone? You had to like reinvent yourself. And the third one is like, money's no object, a wild idea. And then we have the kids kind of crumple up like 1, like 2, like 3 on sticky notes. They draw one, and you can generally tell their face by which one they want based on their expression, in all honesty. So it's like, if you really wanted life 3, your wild idea, how can we get you there? We talk about doable options. What do you want your brand to be? What are your weak ties? And on the last page, you kind of see a brainstorming page. That is my idea of what it is going to be looking like. So kids are going to be developing their passion project, kind of taking everything that we've compiled and they are presenting their passion projects to industry, and industry is going to be giving them feedback, information. We're going to have a dinner. So it's just a way for them to kind of practice those skills in real time. So that's what the juniors, I'm really excited about it. So I hope it goes well, and I think it'll go well. So we're going to help kind of fund that positional Jackson's grant. Very excited about that one. And then kind of switching gears, crisis and safety. We did work this summer to update the crisis and safety plan. On in-service days, we kind of went over what do we do in a hold, what do we do in a secure, what do we do in a lockdown. Right now on our drill schedule, we have 10 fire drills. Teachers love them. We got to do them so we can get better on accounting on Raptor for our students. Tornado, we have 2. Bus evacuations, we have 2. And hold, that's just stay in your remote area. And then we just use that Raptor app to communicate with staff, just to find for students. So we get better every time we practice those drills. So yeah, do that. Sorry. Any questions for me on anything?
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Nash, you're up.
Hey, everybody. One just side note to Mrs. Blecka's conversation there. With her class that she just discussed, part of what we were able to do with that too was to free up the juniors for ACT prep and refresher prior to the test in the spring. So we have them on an alternating schedule. So they'll have this class, fortunately, all first semester. And then second semester right after break, they'll be able to start that refresher leading up to the ACT in March. So it's something that we wanted to prioritize last year was helping our students better prepare for the ACT. We know obviously for their success, whether it be for scholarships or entry at a college or university, but also for our own ACT scores, just like standardized test scores are a large part of the consideration, our A-plus classification. So just something that I didn't include on here that after hearing her, I thought I should mention that. Yeah. So admittedly, there's a lot to share right now. It's the beginning of the year. So it's busy and I didn't want to overwhelm. So I tried to just pick a few things that were unique to this time of year. So an update on our 612 enrollment. There I've listed out by grade level. We had 3 new students enter and Mrs. Johnson was updating those in PowerSchool as I had printed these off. So I think there are still 2 that aren't included in this 135. So you can see just their grade breakdown. We have a couple of small classes, but otherwise kind of right in that range that we want to see. So in-service achievements, it's such a busy few days leading up to school. I mean, teachers are preparing, but they're also going through all of those things that we want them and need them to go through. So I just wanted to list a few of these things here. So MTSS, I'm not going to really touch in too much detail on because Mrs. A is here to do that as part of Mr. Evans' report. But that's been a really good. We've been working on that for I believe 4 years now with intentional effort, and this year feels like it's been a really good step. So we feel like we've seen the efforts pay off and what we've been doing so far, seen some solid results with our tier 1. And so now we're able to move to tier 2 supports and think we have a good plan for that. Communication. Some of you, well, those of you that are current parents in school would have gotten a message already about new communication platform rooms. That's something that we just went through training for full staff and that we'll be rolling out here at the beginning of the year to try to find a consistent way for families to communicate with school staff. So just kind of be on the lookout for that. Mandatory trainings. I just wanted to list the trainings because we have school staff going through a lot right now as they're getting ready for the year. And there are a lot of trainings that they're required to do by law. So I just wanted to list those there. There's none that I don't think you won't be able to understand by the title. Some of them are on a rotating basis. So like the transportation training, for example, there's 2-hour driver training they have to do every year, but every 5 years for select staff, there's an additional 3-hour training. So some of these have an additional component on different years. We had a safety and security refresher, which was always good. Some paraprofessional development. So we feel like we've accomplished a lot in the last few days. Summer PD updates. Since last time we talked, there was one final professional development opportunity that teachers participated in, and it was the co-facilitators of our strategic plan committees. They voluntarily they wanted to come in the summer and participate in a training to help them better facilitate our strategic plan meetings. So we had one organized and it was a really good 2 days. I think everybody who was there felt really really good about the progress we made and the conversations that we had. And I think we feel really confident about our ability to start the year and have these committees operating in a more efficient way than we did at the end of last year. And then just a couple of things for start of school, back to school night tomorrow. As you know, it's just in both buildings structured as an open house, which we found is generally probably the most useful part for kids and families. Then we also do a 6th grade orientation as part of our transition from this building to the other building. So that'll happen at 5:30. Mrs. Blecka leads that. And then just for your information, I just wanted to, since start of school's coming up, I just put the first day of school schedule on the second page there because apparently I don't know how to use the printer and I couldn't get it to print on the back. So, but that just gives you an idea of what we do on the first day before we sink into the regular class schedules on the second day. And this is basically just our opportunity to go through expectations for kids as we'd want them to see them in different areas of the school. Also go over tech rules and internet safety and hand out computers. So. Any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Here. Mr.
Okay, a few things that I wanted to share with the board. One had to do with tax credits, and Stephanie might have a better understanding of this than I do because I haven't seen it happen. I have heard what to expect from it. What it amounts to is it's a tax cut that was made, and the legislature, the state is going to replace some of the money that schools were getting from taxpayers. And so that is going to take place, but it's going to be on a different time schedule than what we were getting from the taxpayers. And so we're going to receive the money from the state for this before we used to get it. And so as we end this school year, our balance is, if we compare it to the previous year, is going to be inflated because we already got some of the money that we're not going to get later.
Right.
And so they're just, the finance people are just saying, just don't think you're wealthy and that you've got a bunch of extra money and you don't know what to do with because you will need it later on because you will see it in the future. I did want to share with you policy 3028 and just share with you we followed our policy with sex offenders. We provided information in what's our mailing that goes out, our newsletter. Thank you. We shared information in there like we were supposed to, and then they also received a letter from my office indicating that to be on school property, they need to make special arrangements and have something written just for that event. And so I just wanted to share with you that we were pretty intentional about following that guideline. CLSD awards, that is a grant for literacy that I think we will be getting. We do not have it yet, and that is on top of the 21st Century grant that we have received. Tomorrow I'm going to be working with the district leadership team meeting to brainstorm about getting things rolling on that grant. And so we're going to have to hire somebody to be the director of that program. That one is a big grant that's going to take a lot to make happen, and that involves the after school program. So we are still planning on getting that going. I kind of prioritize things, and we need to get everything else started first, and then we need to work on that. Staff handbooks, I did want to share with you. This is a little bit of a difference from what the board approved last month with the staff handbook, and I want to thank Anne for bringing it to my attention. In the staff handbook that we approved, which was the same as it had been previously, it indicated that teachers had 2 bereavement days per year. Negotiated agreement says 5. And so I went ahead and changed that to align with the negotiated agreement. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Southeast Community College, I wanted to share this with you, and this is probably getting way down into the weeds, but I think it's some good information for you to have. in July, I received a message from an administrator with Southeast Community College, Dr. Michaelis, and he shared that some of the money that our district was receiving for teaching dual credit courses was going to be redirected to Southeast Community College to use in different ways. So there are different sources of funding that come to the school for Southeast Community College. Some of that funding goes directly to the teachers who teach those courses. The money that this letter referenced was additional money that the district got. And as far as I know, and what Dr. Michaela said when I visited with him, was Pawnee City is the only school that was doing this. For years, it sounds like Pawnee City had chosen to redirect that money onto the teachers who were teaching those courses. And so it was additional compensation, and it's not easy to get the credentials to teach those dual credit courses, and then it takes some extra work to actually do it. And so to incentivize it, I'm sure that's why the decision was made when it was to do that. That's the way they did it. A number of school districts that I visited with used it in different ways. They did not pass it along to the teachers. So anyway, the getting this information here in July after our teachers were planning on having that compensation, I really didn't feel like it was very fair. I wrote an email to Dr. Michaelis asking him to explain the process that they use to make this decision. Because and I still don't have the answer to that. I think what happened was an administrator decided to do this to get extra money to use for Southeast Community College. And they do have a board of directors. I don't know that that's the correct terminology. They have a board that they work with as well. And I asked, did this go through the board? What was the process used? Was there a hearing held? Were the stakeholders informed? Were they given a chance to speak about it? Which I kind of knew the answer to all those questions. I was just trying to ask the question. So anyway, I did not hear back from Dr. Michaelis. About 10 days later, I reached out to Kathleen Bellstorff from Johnson. She's on the board or whatever that group is. And I asked her, I wanted to make her aware that I had reached out and hadn't heard anything yet. Well, I heard back from her very quickly, and then I heard back from Dr. Michaelis very quickly after that. And we visited on the phone, and he was just explaining to me why they did it. And his letter said why they did it. I understand why they did it, but I want to know more about the process. So anyway, I just wanted to share that this happened. Hopefully I didn't make any enemies for life with Southeast Community College, but it didn't seem like, I don't know, it seemed kind of wrong to me. And so I wanted to reach out about it.
So then, since we're not getting that extra funding, did we take that compensation away from the teachers, or are we now fitting that compensation?
No, the teachers lost the compensation. It's not part of the negotiated agreement. It's not part of our district's responsibility to pay them that money. It's just they're out of pocket. It's a loss that they have that they learned about in July. So, yeah.
Are they still doing the work then, for that? And
yes,
compensated?
And they are getting compensated, right? But and I don't. They use Southeast Community Colleges use some percentages, so there is part of that, and I think that there is. I need to rephrase that because I think that there is. They took the money and they cut it in half this year, and next year it's going to be gone. So the teachers will still receive a little bit of it, but they're not going to be receiving what they were expecting to receive. Next month, September, Nebraska Rural Schools will be here to put on a workshop. I think that they talked with you about this once the hiring of the superintendent, and I think that's something good for us to do. It does ensure the guarantee that they gave the board on the hiring of the position. And so we need to do it because I think it'll be a good activity, but we also need to do it to make sure that we have that guarantee.
Sure.
So. And that's all I have for my report. Any questions for me about any of this or any other information? Okay, so Jordan Amundsen is here and I asked her to share some information about the MTSS process. I know Mr. Niss referenced this. It's something that the secondary school is going to be working toward doing more, and the elementary school has been working on for several years now. And so I thought it would be really good to give you some information. You may be hearing more about it and we better equip you to be able to answer some questions. And so, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So this is kind of like my bread and butter. So there's going to be a lot of letters just shouted out at you. If it doesn't make sense, don't be afraid to say like, hey, this doesn't make sense. But essentially, MTSS is a multi-tiered system of supports. We really want to support all of our learners, not just our struggling learners. And so this is just more of a systematic way for us to support every student that we have here at Pawnee. So. Okay, this is for the teachers. It's just like a welcome back. So, so what is MTSS? Like I said, it's in. Sorry, I didn't take that out. It's a framework that uses data and evidence-based practices to support all students, and so that includes academics. So you'll hear RTI, right? And that's more of that academic piece. PBIS is that behavior piece. UDL, the curriculum design, all of that fits under the umbrella of MTSS. And it integrates all of what I literally just said. Database decision making. We collect all of this data continuously for every student. And so how are we using that to make better decisions for them rather than just saying, I don't know, I feel like Bobby is struggling. We're collecting data. Let's analyze all this data together so that we can make better decisions for those kiddos. Okay, so how did we get here? Yeah, you can go ahead and click on that. Thank you. On the bottom tab that says base rate, I believe. Yes. So this is all of our data. So on the left where it says reading screener, this is the percentage of students who are not proficient in reading. Okay. And so if you scroll down a little bit, Mr. Evans, keep going just a little. Yep, right there. So that colorful section, the blue number, we actually want to see decrease because that would mean the number of students who are proficient, who are meeting standards, is going up. And so we can see that in 2023, that collective K-10 number of students or percentage of students who were not proficient is 36%. And then last year, that collective K-10 is 34%. So it went down a little bit. That's what we want to see. This data is important because of all of the acceleration work that we've been doing through the ESU. And so these numbers are a little less surprising when we look reading versus math because our math is a pretty significant drop versus our reading that we're just kind of getting into the weeds with that reading acceleration or that ELA acceleration. So for math, you can see that collective K-10 in 2023, 33% of students were not proficient. In 2025, 26% of students were not proficient. And so what this data really tells us is that all of that acceleration work is working, and that's our tier 1 work, our core work in the classroom. And so this year we've actually kind of dedicated to what we would call tier 2. And so I'll kind of get into what that looks like. There's also some SCBL data at the bottom, but to be honest, I don't know how we got there. You can go down. I would love to say I know how we went from 28% of students in 2023 who were not proficient to only 8. Go down just a little bit right there. Yep. To only 8% to 12. To be honest, I don't know that I can point to one thing that has happened or like the acceleration. But it's a good thing. It's a really big drop, but like I said, I don't know that I can credit it to one thing. Okay, perfect. So going into what those tiers mean, forgot about this. That's me with mumps. I promise there's a point. Can you click on that link, jumping to conclusions? And then can you I promise there's a real point. And then skip forward to 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Julie and I should give a lot of credit to Julie Pierce. She did a lot of work with me this summer as well. Revolving around our MTSS, and we both did a tier 2 training, and they used this analogy, and I just kind of thought that it made it a little more real. And also, I don't know if this guy can see into the future, but it relates kind of to COVID, and I'm like, whoa. Right. But no, sound over.
Yeah, the sound was coming through on the TV.
Okay, that's okay. So I don't know if it's
Yeah, sorry.
it's okay.
It's picking up.
It's okay. You can actually just, pause it. Essentially what he relates it to is the triangle, that bottom green section is in an ideal world, we want 80% of our students to be met in that lower half, right? So all of their needs are being met in tier 1. So academic needs, but we all know that students need a little bit more. So his analogy is this flu that comes up, and if it gets bad enough, they have to have brain surgery. Well, we're not going to jump straight to brain surgery because before they need brain surgery, they have just a little bit of a fever. And so he was talking about if we can meet their needs just by giving them chicken noodle soup, which is like that tier 2 level, which is about 5 to 10% of our students. If we can give them chicken noodle soup, it's cheap, it's easy. And so this year we're really focusing on what I've communicated to our staff as the chicken noodle soup. It's the cheap, the easy stuff. And that being a more formal check-in, check-out system, and then pre-teaching and reteaching. And those are really heavy evidence-based interventions that help students, but don't cost anything and take pretty little time. Well, my mumps. This is really only relevant if you watch the video, but in college I got mumps, and I went to the urgent care, and he was like, yeah, I think you have cancer. And I was like, wow, okay. And then I actually found out I just needed an antibiotic. So, yeah. So like jumping to conclusions, not quite as severe here, but just another analogy. And I just apparently love to embarrass myself. Okay. Purpose of MTSS. So early identification, as educators, we have a legal obligation under child fine that once we suspect a disability, we kind of have to do something about it. And so MTSS is a systematic way for us to kind of figure out, hey, this kid is struggling. How can we do that? How can we support them? And not just jump straight to special education, because the special education isn't the end all be all. It doesn't fix everything, right? It allows us to provide targeted interventions based on that kiddo's need. And so maybe if they just need a little help, like getting them to school, we may just give them a check in, check out, and that's a really quick, easy intervention. But some may be a little more targeted to specifically phonological processing and reading, right? And so those tiered interventions. So tier 1 is right there in the classroom. Tier 2 may be a little bit more like in a small group with Mrs. Pierce over here. And that's kind of our hope for Mr. Jacobs over in the secondary building. And then tier 3 may just be a little more targeted or a little more intense for kiddos who just need a little extra help. And then once we get through all of that, I feel like we're being proactive rather than just saying like, oh, yep, they qualify for special education rather than that reactive approach. And also kind of creating that collaborative culture, like everyone's working together to do what's best for all kids. And so I think that's a really cool mindset to have, that student-centered approach. I've kind of already talked about this, but like I said, that tier 1 is core instruction, high quality instruction for all students. So again, like the 85% is in that tier 1, hopefully being met. That tier 2 is a little more targeted. So we're looking for a little more like small group interventions for some students. So last year we started implementing that what I need time or win time in the elementary. And so that's when some teachers will be able to provide some interventions for our elementary students. And then that 9th hour over in the middle school, high school. And then that 3rd tier really should only be 5% or less of our students getting that intense of an intervention. Just to kind of clarify some vocab. So you might hear us talk about screening. That's like our Acadience data, our Sabres and My Sabres. So Acadience would be, we're looking at reading specifically, and it's normed against all other students in, I think the country. Those tiered supports I've already kind of talked about. Progress monitoring is something that we do depending on, well, 3 times a year. So Acadians for reading, we do every fall, winter and spring. And then as they flag, we look at a little more data in their classroom to kind of place them along those tiers to make sure that they're kind of getting the interventions that they need. And then diagnostic and intervention, kind of like a doctor. We want to look at all of this data and diagnose, like, hey, how can we give them this intervention to better support them? And so we want to look at their strengths, their weaknesses, but also we have to choose an intervention that 1 makes sense, but 2, we can do with fidelity, because if a student is gone for 2 days and is sick, and then we're gone for a day, and we've only tried an intervention for 5 days, and then you come back to me and say like, this isn't working, well, it's not being done the way that it's intended to. And so just kind of understanding that there's a lot of pieces that kind of go into all of it. I feel like I kind of talked about this. Ensure every student gets what they need. We look at all their data, that kind of thing. A lot of teachers are like, I've tried everything, now what? And so the next slide kind of talks about, right after we go through all of those tiers, special education is actually like a separate entity. So it's not like built into these tiers. But once we work through all 3 tiers and they're still struggling, they need even more intense support, that's when we refer for special education. And then we know for a fact, like, we tried what we can, and like our last resort is special education. These are just more slides that go over exactly how MTSS looks here at Pawnee City. To be honest, it's a lot. And so if you're interested, I can go through it, but essentially we utilize Julie in our tier 2 and our tier 3 area. And then are hoping to kind of do the same thing with Dawn. So, what other questions, comments, anything circling in your mind?
Thank you, Gordon. I know the acronyms that we use all the time, MTSS, we talk about that quite a bit, tier one. It just, when you're not in education, I'm sure if I walked into the hospital, I'd be like, well, I don't know what you're talking.
For sure.
Also,
So even as a new board member, that helps tremendously, just trying to figure that out, so it's not, I don't know.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you, guys. I'm happy to answer any questions anytime.
All right, moving on to other board committee.
I'm not aware of any, I know I reached out to policy committee, but I don't think I set them up real well to give feedback on some of the information, but we'll talk about that when we get to the policies.
Awesome. The communications or the education foundation is going to be meeting, we have a set date now, September 18th. So we'll have more to discuss at the October meeting. Other than that, buildings and grounds. Okay, it was just specifically on there.
It was on there before.
Okay.
So that's why.
It can come on.
That's why it's
All right.
on there.
All right, then moving on to policy, consider accepting the following policies as presented for adoption. 2008, 4041, 5002, 5003, 5031.
So some of the members of the policy committee asked some really good questions. And I know I would invite Derek to be a part of the conversation if he's available. I know that the part-time student one, the students participating in activities, it gets really confusing. And I think part of that is because of the legislation that happened that is forcing the issue. We had to make some decisions on which of those, and I think we talked about that just a little bit at the last meeting. And we kind of decided that we ended up with this policy that you have in front of you. What questions do you have about any of these? Staff dress and appearance. I tried to match the KSBE policy with the handbook that they had that we approved last month.
I think you answered mine with your email response. So.
Okay. Thank you, Hannah.
I don't have any further questions.
So we just need a motion, we'll go ahead and,
I will make the motion to accept the following policies as presented. Policy number 2008, policy 4041, policy 5002, 5003.
I second.
motion by Hope, second by Bobby. Hope, any further comment or question?
No.
Bobby, comment, question?
No.
Either one of the other board members have any questions or comments? We'll go right into voting then. Jason, yes. Hannah,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes.
Julie is absent. Mark,
Yes.
motion is carried. On to new business. Number one, authorize Mr. Evans to make necessary transfers to close out the fiscal year 2025 budget.
I make a motion to authorize Mr. Evans to make the necessary transfer to close out the fiscal year 2025 budget.
Second.
Motion by Bobby and a second by Hannah. Bobby, do you have any comments or questions?
No.
Hannah,
No.
either one of the other board members have any comments or questions?
No.
Going on to vote then, Hannah,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes.
Julie is absent, Mark,
Yes.
and Jason, yes, motion carried unanimously. Reschedule the budget hearing to 6 p.m. on September 3rd, 2025.
I apologize. I should have counted better at the last meeting. I I missed the August 20th deadline for the assessors to get us the information. And then we have to have enough time to notice it in the newspaper prior to the hearing. And so I missed that piece of it. And so it's going to be necessary for us to move that date. Does September 3rd work for the board?
Yes.
Good.
Should work fine.
Works better, actually.
Actually, good. All right. I'm glad to hear that.
I make a motion to reschedule the budget hearing to 6 PM, September 3rd.
Second.
Motion by Bobby, second by Mark. Bobby, any comments or questions?
Nope.
Mark? Hannah or Hope, do you have any comments or questions?
No.
We'll go on to vote then, Bobby.
Yes.
Hope,
Yes.
Julie is absent. Mark?
Yes.
Jason, yes. Hannah?
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously. Schedule the final tax request hearing for 6 PM on September 8th as part of the regular September Board of Education meeting.
I will make that motion to schedule a final tax request hearing for 6 PM on September 8th as part of the regular board meeting.
Second.
Motion by Hope, second by Hannah. Hope, any comments or questions?
Nope.
Hannah?
No.
Bobby and Mark, do you have any comments or questions?
Nope.
Going on to vote then. Hope,
Yes.
Julie is absent. Mark?
Yep.
Jason, yes. Hannah?
Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously. Zero out the student fee fund from the 2024-2025 budget. It's a transfer of $2 to the general fund.
Stephanie DeGroot, with the Nebraska Department of Education Finance suggests we zero this out. That we can still use it for the future, but there's really no sense in carrying $2 in that account.
I will make the motion to zero out the student fee fund from 2024-2025 budget and transfer the $2 to the general fund.
Second.
Motion by Hope, second by Mark. Hope and Mark, do you have any comments or questions?
No.
Hannah and Bobby, any comments or questions?
No.
All right, we'll go ahead and we'll vote. Julie is absent. Mark?
Yes.
Jason, yes. Hannah?
Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
And Hope.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously. 4, consider approving the 3-year proposal from Julie Bowman, CPA PC, to conduct the district's independent audits as presented.
Dana Cole, who had done our audit previously, sent notification that he's going to terminate that. Increased my heart rate a little bit when I was hearing other school districts talk about how they can't find people to do their audits. And so I really don't have a plan B if it's not Julie Bauman. I know I reached out to the state group of CPAs in Nebraska and asked them if they had recommendations for people, because I wasn't sure if Julie was going to agree to that or not, Julie Bauman's firm. And of course, the first thing she said, well, Julie Bauman is the one who teaches our people how to do the school audits. And so we suggest that you get a hold of her. And I said, well, I have, but I haven't heard back yet. So anyway, I was excited that she agreed to it. I did not think her terms were out of line for this service.
She's I worked with her when I was on the city council. She does cities, does all their audit stuff there. So she's, when I was on council, she was really good.
Yeah.
I think it's a no brainer.
All
We
right,
need a motion to
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approving the 3-year proposal from Julie Bauman, CPA PC, to conduct the district's independent audits as presented.
Second.
motion by Mark, second by Hannah. Mark and Hannah, do you have any comments or questions?
No.
Bobby or Hope?
No.
Going on to vote. Mark?
Yes.
Jason, yes. Hannah?
Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
Hope?
Yes.
And Julie is absent. Motion carried unanimously. Where are we at? 5, student handbook.
I'd invite Mr. Nist to share any information. I know he went over the secondary handbook and we tried to align that with KBS's recommendations. I did the the same thing with the elementary handbook. The elementary handbook's easier than the secondary handbook. I know that. So I know that I tried to match what they were recommending. The student dress was something, the student dress code was something that they had a different policy for, and I tried to mirror that as well as I could in the elementary handbook. And I think that was the main change. There might have been just a little bit of language change with cell phones, but it wasn't really significant. Mr. Niss?
I don't have much to add to that. Most of the updates for the secondary handbook were pretty straightforward, updating dates or contact information for people who had changed. As far as updates from KSB, I know there were policy updates this year. Really, not much of that needed to be reflected in the handbook. One was student dress. There was a change in verbiage, although I have to say we were able to leave our diagram and our essential, our visual for the dress code intact and in line with that. So really in practice, we will change anything with how we approach it. Let's see. There was a other. Oh, no, that is okay. Did you have any questions about any handbook updates?
Just thank you. I know it's a lot to go through.
Well, I've made comments and shares, because that's the first time I've done that. That's all terrible handbooks. And it was just good practice, every year to go through every page of the handbook regardless. You know, it's just, in the end, it was value time.
So I'll make a motion to approve the student handbook as presented.
Second,
Motion by Jason, second by Bobby. Bobby, do you have any other questions?
I know.
Hannah, Hope, and Mark, have any questions? We'll go ahead and vote. Jason, yes. Hannah,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes.
Julia is absent. Mark,
Yes.
motion carried unanimously. Discussion regarding the process with strategic plan.
So I wanna have a conversation to talk about what the board understands, or some of the thoughts that you have from the process that you've been through with a strategic plan. And some of this goes to some training I've had before, but also working with some of the leaders that are on the strategic plan for the committees. And I know Mr. Niss referenced the training that we had, which was very valuable. And I do want to mention something, that there is a tremendous amount of leadership on the staff here. And so there's lots of different kinds of leadership. There's positional leadership as the superintendent, that makes me a leader. But what I do is also what makes me a leader. And I think that there's a lot of leadership capabilities on the staff right now. It's something that as a board, I think is you should really embrace the leadership that's there. And we've seen a lot of it tonight. So I did want to mention, though, thinking about the strategic plan, what I'm concerned about, and this goes to one of my experiences, and I hope you'll let me tell a little story. So when the district I was in before consolidated, we didn't know what to call it. And so we formed a committee, and this committee met, and we went through the process. There's a storming and norming process that you go through on a committee as you try to reach an agreement. And so after a number of meetings, we took to the board three options with one that was our preference. So 3 different names for the new school district. The board didn't take any of them. And we met and we met and we met, and they came up with something on their own. And we just felt like we wasted all that time. So what I'm concerned about is our committees have been working on improving 5 different areas within the strategic plan. And just about anything you do in a school involves resources. And so in order to make a recommendation or something that a committee would come to us with, it has to go through administration first, and then it has to go through the board. And especially when it comes to resources, we're going to have a lot of different ideas. And so I see the potential for a problem with this process. And what I'd like to do, and maybe this isn't even doable, I'd like to try to find a decision-making process that we can communicate in advance, that we can talk about, okay, if you want to implement this change, what are some of the steps that we need to go through so that the work by the committee is validated, that the board's responsibility is taken care of too. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud a little bit here, but I'm just interested in some of your thoughts or guidance or anything that you have on moving forward with the work by the strategic plan committees.
Well, currently, it's just the different committees, right, made up of teachers and everybody
Correct.
discussing things, just so I know a little bit how it is going. So we're like, maybe you're thinking we need to be more informed, so then when we have to make decisions on stuff, it's not.
So,
But
okay.
I think there's a whole lot of effort that goes into it,
Right.
and then when it's presented for just an immediate no, and then when you wash it away and nothing's followed up on, or no other options, it's just
Right.
everything they just went through is basically for nothing, type of things. Should be some kind of a smoother path to success from there all the way through the board.
So, and something that you just said, Hannah, and Mark, you kind of shared, made me think of is maybe there needs to be a process of establishing the parameters, or if a committee is working on a concept that it maybe, I don't know if it would be a workshop with the board or what it would be, that if something is a definite no, we know in advance that it's a no.
Save a lot of time.
It would, and hard feelings, and so maybe that's what we need to think about, is how do we start this process and start slow and bring information to the board, and then have a feedback cycle or a loop that we get back to the committees, and we give them an idea of, yeah, the board really likes that idea, or we'd like to get more information about that, or that's never going to fly,
Could, this is asking more time and effort from more of the staff, but like, could we get, I mean, we do committee reports, we have counselor and principal and superintendent reports, could we get updated as far as what they're working on, what they're thinking, so we kind of have an idea of the process that they're in, where they're at in that process, and that way it's not just maybe for us hey, we're hitting you with this decision, say yes or no right now. I mean, give us a little bit of time to understand better, where they're coming from, the steps that they would like to see and their end picture, so we can kind of collaborate a little bit. I mean,
And maybe some feedback through the process.
Yeah.
Like you can,
and
just as you were saying, like,
I don't
it's
know.
just a hard no. Or yes, I can see that, but maybe, doing it this route would help them, guide them to, an easier path to making it successful, whatever.
So I think that's a good idea, and we have a number of different we have some methods of being able to do that without requiring somebody to be at the meeting. I mean, we could have, we have leaders on each of the groups that if they're welcome to come and report to the board, or they could do a video report or even a written report, I think would be possible. But I think that's a really good idea to try to have this, us working together, or the board's up to date, on some of the conversations, as opposed to getting somewhere down the road and it being an ultimatum type of thing that either the board takes it or they don't. And if they don't, people are upset.
Yeah, it's very frustrating if you put a lot of time and effort into something and then it's just shot down, you know, and then it's done with. You feel like it's complete waste of your time to even start the process. So
Yeah,
Mr. Evans, would you mind if I
please.
in real quick? I think, you know, I appreciate that your immediate thought was the another ask of staff. I actually think there's a path to accomplish that without too much extra effort. We've talked recently with some of the facilitators, Mr. Evans and I have, and we've got a plan in place for each month after they have their strategic plan meetings to have a debrief with administration. At that time, I think it would be pretty straightforward for us to establish those priorities from each group, and Mr. Evans can communicate that with the board. Then I think that would be up to you guys and him to decide how to get that feedback from there. But you know, if there were things that the board members really thought, yeah, we want to support that, or things that opposite you have some questions about or want some clarification on, then we'd be able to have that in the group before their next meeting. So, and we have those meetings scheduled for about every 4 weeks throughout the year. Just one thought about how we could do that without actually increasing the workload of most of the staff.
Thank you.
Think that open communication on
Okay.
both sides, I think would be beneficial.
Had there been an understanding from the board about the process before?
I don't think we were ever told anything.
Okay. I didn't know if that had been communicated, that the vision for getting there and for the
Right.
committees.
I mean, I think it was kind of discussed it like our strategic plan meetings with the community and the staff and board members and that type of stuff of this is where we're starting, this is our end goal, here are the steps how we're going to take it. But as far as like staff meeting and where they were at and that process, I guess I didn't feel like we knew it was happening, but any decisions or communication on that.
Okay,
So it
Yeah.
would be
thank you.
beneficial, I feel like, even to know where they're at and their feelings.
Sure. Well, I know that when we're working on solving a problem, if we can identify the decision-making process and who's going to make that decision, and the board knows, we know how the board makes decisions, right? I mean, that's laid out very clearly with the vote of the board. And so to have a process in place, I think is just really important. I think it will help us achieve what we're after with the strategic plan, and to do it where everybody's involved and knows what's going on. I want to avoid a lose-lose situation whenever possible. And so hopefully,
What would hurt if we had part of the board be part of the committees too, or be able to set in with the committee and not necessarily be a part of the committee, but at least like sit down and listen to what the individual committees are talking about. So they have a little bit more buy-in. And it's not just us sitting here behind this table waiting for them to bring us something. We need to be more involved in the process ourselves, because I don't think we should just like dump it on our teachers to that the strategic plan for them to, or the idea of a strategic plan to roll it out is all on them. I mean, it's not, it's on us too. I mean, I think we should be more involved in that, in the whole thing. And have, to put the time and the effort that the teachers are putting into it. As well.
I'm all for that, but depends on work schedule too. You know what I mean? When you don't get off till 5:45 or 6 at night. If I have the day off, that'd be great, but it may not always work. And I don't want them to think, why isn't she here again? You know, that's the only problem. Yeah. But
I mean, I completely understand. I mean, my schedule, I have an easy schedule. I come and go as I please. And it's a lot easier for me, but I just think that we're relying too much on our teachers to take on things 110%. And then we're just sitting behind these tables and being like, nope, we're not gonna do this. Nope, we're not gonna do this. Okay, we're gonna do this. Okay, I see this, but we'll be able to do this. I think if we're more involved in more of the day-to-day operations of the school and come together instead of being teachers and board, be more of, working hand in hand instead of being two different separate entities. We are one Pawnee City.
I also think that we'll be a little more invested too, as far as.
Exactly.
We'll know a little more what they're actually working on or towards and the intricate
And even though,
pieces of it, being a little more detailed.
and
Sometimes
have a
if
little
it's
bit
just
more idea,
something is just presented, it's
have a more of idea of where they're coming from on things that we don't understand.
that's what I meant.
We're not educators. None of us are really educators in our own, or, our professional fields. I mean, they are, where they kind of know more so of how the school system works than we do. I mean, I've been on the board for 9+ years and I'm still learning. And I feel like I spend a lot of time in school and I'm still learning. So, I mean, I think if we got more involved in different aspects of what we're asking them to do, I think we would have better handle on how to react and to how to vote things as well. Sorry, so lots of crap.
Sure.
maybe they don't want us.
We'd love to have you guys involved.
Okay, well, I think that we will probably want to revisit this in some way, shape, or form pretty regularly. As we move forward and we'll try to figure out ways to keep you informed for the work that the committees are doing. So, okay. Thank you for that conversation. I really appreciate it. It was a well thought out conversation.
All right, going to number 7, approved facility lease with the Tiger Pride Foundation for the 2024-2025 school year. It should be 2025-2026.
Those are the old agreements. I put it on here with the idea that I thought I would have the new agreements by tonight. I do not.
Okay,
I guess what I would say is, I would ask that you approve it if the lease agreements are the same amount as the 24-25 school. So if they're the same as last year.
I was gonna say, I know last year it had increased.
Oh, it had, okay.
From the year before.
So there's 2 separate ones. One is pretty much for
I don't think
basketball.
it had increased a lot, but I know, I do know it had increased.
Wrestling, wasn't it?
It's
Mhm.
wrestling one,
That's why it
that's the one that increased.
No, I think gym one increased, something about if they were gonna, or maybe that was a year before. They were gonna, it had to do with maintaining the floor.
maybe
So
we'll wait until the next meeting.
we can't, I don't know that we're on a time crunch.
We don't use it. I mean, when is our
Maybe
lease
don't
up?
do that very often. I just remember there
was
being a
August.
discussion about them raising it because of me.
Mr. Ness, any reason, I mean, we won't need it,
Ending August.
the facilities before November.
I mean, this one will expire, but we won't. And then fall season.
But
We have had wrestlers that have been going for over that, but now that other seasons are starting, that won't be happening, so. I'll
Okay.
make sure I can get coaches about that.
So it's been the same.
Pretty consistent.
Okay. Okay. Well, we can wait until we have the new amounts.
Do we need a motion to that?
Only if we want to, if you're interested in approving it. At the set amounts from last year, moving forward for another lease agreement, we could do that. Um. Or we can just table it till next month.
You guys wanna do?
I think if we can vote. If it's the same, as you know, with the understanding that it's gonna be the
As long as it's
same,
the same, then it's approved.
yeah,
For the motion, so.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I'm good with that. Just take the motion.
Do you wanna make a motion then?
Sure, yeah, I will. I make the motion to approve facilities lease with the Tiger Pride Foundation for the 2025-2026 agreement with the understanding that it'll remain at the $3,500 to be paid over 5 months. Can I do that?
And
Plus
with
the wrestling one, right?
wrestling.
Wrestling was 1,000.
5,000, yes.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion by Bobby and a second by Mark. Bobby and Mark, do you have any other comments or questions? Hannah and Hope,
No,
hearing none, Hannah voting,
yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes,
Julia's absent, Mark,
Yes.
and Jason, yes. Motion carried unanimous. Discuss and consider taking action to approve the criteria used by both board to evaluate the superintendent performance pursuant to board policy 4057.
So this is confusing. I'm sorry. KSB sent me this information. You were on a pilot previously to use KSB's superintendent evaluation instrument. And so they sent me some information and then I put the agenda out and then they sent me some more information. I think you're gonna have to make two motions with this, and I think you could probably bring it together to approve policy 4057 as listed, and as well as the instrument, the KSB superintendent evaluation instrument. So those are the two things that we have to do, and then I have to get those off to the Nebraska Department of Ed.
I'll make the motion to approve board policy 4057 and approve the KSB superintendent evaluation instrument.
I'll second that.
Motion by Jason, second by Hope. Hope, do you have any comments or questions? The rest of the board have any comments or questions? We'll go ahead and move to voting then. Bobby,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes,
Julia's absent, Mark,
Yes.
Jason, yes, Hannah,
Yes.
motion carried. Schedule an opportunity to tour the facilities.
So this is not something that we have to do. I know that in visiting with one of the board members, the idea was brought up about how good it would be to see our facilities when there's kids in the building and how things are going. And so I want to just ask the board if you are interested in doing that. That could be done on an individual basis. You could reach out to me and we could take a tour of the facilities, or we could try to schedule something with no more than 3 board members at a time. Or if you really wanted to, we could set a board meeting where you got together and you toured the facilities. So I guess my first question is, do you want to do something like that or not?
I'd be fine with it.
Okay.
Fine.
So would you like to do a time for no more than 3 to come in to do it? And then we do 2 shifts like that at some time? I doubt that everybody's schedule is gonna match.
Yeah, it seems like that's its trouble.
Yeah. So should we take a look at a date that we can possibly do this? Thursday, September 4th. And I would assume that we could do it in an hour and a half. I don't know, maybe you'd want to spend more time. Mr. Niss, are you available to help us on like the 4th of September?
Well, let me see if I work.
I can come anytime, so it doesn't matter.
Okay,
You do not work in,
Do I work?
no.
And we can do it separate too.
yeah, you can do it separate.
And then how about pictures? If you want to do this, your work, or we bring them to you. So we will have another board meeting before. Okay. Brings it in, okay. She's not on board, but I don't wanna do it, so. Okay. Sorry. I'm game for the fourth, if that works, for or we can do it on different days too, I mean.
Should we shoot for? Do you wanna see? Drop off in the morning and go from there?
Sure.
I mean, I'm just thinking that, I think, I hear that that's an area that is of concern.
As in, like 3 of us?
Seven
Or
45, yeah, it would be 3 of us, I would say that's the best way to do it, I
Right.
think,
3 of us on that day?
yeah. 7:45 on the 4th. Start here and,
I can go any day, so
Okay.
if you guys all have those days off, you might as well take that,
Well, I
and
can
then,
figure out something else too. I mean,
My schedule's easy too, so.
okay,
I'll go.
Hannah,
I will too.
do you work that day?
I don't, but I don't have to go that day either. I mean, I don't want it to just be the 3 people that work at the hospital, so I can go a different day. If we can
You guys
reach out to
all-
Julia, if she wants, she can take that day. Doesn't matter.
okay. Should we just throw Mark in? And,
So like me, I can go anytime,
Okay.
so. I feel like I have 2 requests that I already, my kids here. Sure,
Tuesday, the 26th,
September, August.
August. Who do we have left? We've got Bobby left,
you said September 4th for us, right? 75?
yes.
What time are you thinking, same time,
Yeah,
for how long?
hour and a half.
Yeah, should be good too. I have a,
Bobby, I don't work that day either, so
I have a
if you do work, it doesn't work, I can swap.
You can swap.
I don't day off, or I do have that day off. I do not work. So I can do it 26th.
Well, let's just plan on that, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, let me know, we can line something else
I
up.
was gonna say, if Julie, it doesn't work for Julia for
Okay.
that day and she needs to switch, I can switch.
And I can do a right tour for her too, if she needs
Same
it.
time, right?
Yes,
7:45, is
okay,
that what you said, 7:45?
yes,
August 26th.
thank you. That'll be good.
All right, there's only one thing left on our agenda, and that is the adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
A motion by Bobby,
Second.
second by Hannah. Voting vote. Julia's absent, Mark,
Yes.
Jason, yes, Hannah,
Yes.
and Bobby. We are adjourned at 7:17.
You guys.
Yeah.